So, as part of absolutism, monarchs liked to demonstrate how much power they had, and they did this by building beautiful, lavish palaces. And I wanted to show you this palace. We're talking about the Spanish monarchs. We previously have talked about Charles V. He was the Holy Roman Emperor and the Spanish king who tried to stop Martin Luther from spreading his ideas. Charles will pass down the crown from himself to his son Philip. He gives part of his empire to his brother. Charles had a huge empire. He had lands in the New World, he had the Holy Roman Empire, parts of the Italian boot, and he had Spain. Philip then will just have what's called just mainland Spain, the New World, the lands that the Spanish claimed the New World, and what's called the Spanish Netherlands. So this palace we found north of Madrid, and here is just some images of the palace I wanted you to see. I've actually not been here. I've been to other parts of Europe, but not to Spain. But makes you just want to go travel and see the world. So this is known for its large gardens and its monastery, one of the largest in the world. So of course the monastery is where you have training of Catholic monks. We have gardens here that you would similar that you would see at the French Palace of Versailles. Of course, the beautiful views you'd have. So here's a picture of Philip, and he rules for an extensive time period, almost 43 years or so. He will be married at one point to the English monarch Mary Tudor. The marriage doesn't last very long as she dies. She gets the nickname Bloody Mary because she wants to return England to the Catholic Church. And that, of course, too, is what Philip wanted. But England, under Henry VIII, her father, had turned Protestant. But Philip is devoted to the Catholic Church, and that's what's important here. I want to go over to his devotion to it. His narrow sense and his wanting to focus Catholicism leads to some wars, one with the Netherlands, one with England. Costs Spain a lot of money, and it's problematic for them because they will lose. So the Netherlands was run by Spain, and the Netherlands was willing to pay taxes to Spain under Charles V, but they did not like Philip. Philip didn't speak the language, the Flemish language of the people there. He wanted to enforce them to be Catholic, and they were more Protestant and independent. So they had this long war with each other. It's called an 80 Years' War. The Netherlands eventually will get their independence after a long period. And then it becomes worrisome that England seems to be supporting this. Now, England supports the Netherlands' independence because, or their Protestant touch, because England's afraid of being forced to being Catholic. That's under Mary's half-sister Elizabeth, if that makes any sense to you. But this leads to Spain and Philip launching what's called the Spanish Armada. And it's this fortunate fleet, this huge fleet, I think 130 ships, 30,000 soldiers are going to go up. Before they went, they all received communion before they went. And Spain is the strongest state in Europe. Spain should have been able to defeat England. The problem here was we thought England was supporting the Dutch rebels, or the rebels in the Netherlands. So bad weather and rank food will actually lead to the downfall of the Spanish here. So here's an interesting map showing this. They're going to leave La Coruña in the northern part of Spain, go up to England. They stop off the coast of France just to meet with the Spanish and the Spanish Netherlands to go across to England, and bad weather and some English aggression against the Spanish disrupt this fleet. The fleet has difficulty. They go around these British Isles of England and Scotland, around Ireland, and they come back down a couple of times, more attacks on the Spanish fleet, and they limp back into Spain. Half of the fleet will be gone, but this will be a great loss for the Spanish. Eventually, this area that was called the Spanish Netherlands will get their independence, be called just the Netherlands or the Dutch Netherlands. And this map where it says Spanish Netherlands, that's actually Belgium today. You can see Spain has some other territories in Europe, part of the Italian boot, Sardinia, some scattered territories in the Holy Roman Empire. So going back to this beautiful palace, the manuscripts, the printed books, you got the ceilings done just like you would have seen in Renaissance Italy. So the Renaissance comes to Spain a little bit later, late 1400s. We're only going up here to about 1600 or so you see the similarities. This beautiful altarpiece in his chapel. Philip could come out to a balcony in his office bedroom and be in the chapel and then be devout in his faith in early mornings. So just some more views of this castle. So here's a series of statistics about this castle or this palace. You don't need to know them, but I just wanted you to see the sheer number of doorways, towers, stairwells, different things that are kind of interesting about this palace. And this is really very similar to the Palace of Versailles we'll look at in France. But come on, 88 fountains and 86 stairwells, quite remarkable. Must have been just incredibly huge. Here's his bed, crypt. Of course, this is all a tourist site today. This would be the burial zone for the burial area for the Habsburg family. Other things to note about life under Philip in the Spanish state is this the height of Spanish culture. We have a famous painter who's actually not Spanish but master Spanish painting, El Greco. And then we have the height of Spanish literature, and you have Cervantes who wrote Don Quixote.